Yo, what is up everybody, Jay the Great, and welcome back to another Naruto reaction video here today. And today we got a very interesting video about the great Swagkage, and as you can tell by the title, that is, what if Itachi had the Rinnegan? So folks, like I just said, this scenario is quite interesting to think about, due to the fact that Itachi is one of the greatest minds that has ever dwelled within the Naruto verse. And I always like to say that Itachi is one of the best shinobi under pressure, and quite literally the god of deception. Every time we see him on screen or on the panels within the manga, he is always deceiving everybody to the fullest of extent. I also like to say that he maximizes the potential of the tools at his disposal very well, maybe better than anybody else ever within the shinobi verse, with his various abilities, from genjutsu to amaterasu to the various fire style abilities that he has, to his proficiency and excellence in shuriken jutsu. He is known as the god of deception in my eyes and in the eyes of many. But in this scenario, we think, what if Itachi had the Rinnegan, right? What if he could use Chubaku Tensei? What if he could absorb your ninjutsu? What if he could do this and that? He'd be even more dangerous and even more powerful, I would argue, with the Rinnegan. And it's quite interesting to think about. I can't wait to see what Swag has to say today. But before we begin, any of those greatly appreciate, hit that like button, turn on notifications to stay updated with yours truly. And if you're new and you enjoy and you mess with the kid, make sure to hit that sub button, man. And once you do, become part of the family forever. But let's not waste more time. Screen. Let's see what Swag has to say today.
Hi fellas, it's your boy Swag, other boy Seth.
What up, guys?
Today we're here to talk about I don't really even know how to label this. So I don't know if it's like a battle or it's just like,
bro, he literally made the video idea. He doesn't know.
What if Itachi had 6 paths?
6 paths. Oh wow.
So because people ask this, right? Itachi, with a Rinnegan would be super, man, how would you even beat him? He's so smart.
They think he's the solo
right.
king anyway. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right? People are
that's
what if he had
exactly true.
Tsukuyomi, Rinnegan version or whatever. So we can tackle this in stages, right? So first of all, what if he just had a Rinnegan and it's his, right? We don't even have to be
one Rinnegan or 2.
We can do both. We can do both. And
okay,
then we'll be
okay.
what if he had 6 paths? So let's start basic.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
He unlocked one Rinnegan, just regular Rinnegan.
He would have beat Sasuke a lot harder.
Yeah.
Basically.
Who could he beat?
I feel it would be groups of people. Groups of people, because he can absorb jutsu now.
Oh.
So maybe he has more stamina.
That would be so useful to him.
Actually, hold on. You're onto something there. He could just go into the King of Hell and get munched up and then come out, and maybe he wouldn't have
my goodness,
tuberculosis anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So his age would go away.
Is that how that would work? Would you heal sickness with that?
Well, I mean, Nagato was still crippled.
Right.
Can he
he was still sick.
And, Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
But
exactly.
Then,
that was my point.
Nagato, if he can turn his arm into a cannon, why can't he just turn his legs into machine things too?
Right.
I feel
I think that's
what
more.
happened to his legs.
I gotta talk about this because this is interesting. I think that's more of a narrative / plot inconsistency with the Rinnegan, right? Because Nagato's literally able to make his arms fucking cyborg blasters or whatever. Yeah, he can't give himself cyborg legs and cyborg arms when he's crippled, when he was still alive. That seems like a plot / narrative inconsistency. It's not something that's so drastic that we touch up on it and think about it. Right now we're thinking about it because we're in this strange hypothetical scenario discussion. But yeah, so I don't think what they were talking about, if he gets chewed up by that thing that the Rinnegan summons, I don't think that works that way. I think it works with reanimation type things like the 6 paths of pain, right? I don't think it works with a living host, at least not to my observation. Obviously, we never saw it with Nagato because Nagato never did it to himself, right? He was crippled, as we all know. But that's an interesting thing to think about. Let's continue, though.
Probably just super serious. Maybe you got to assume that there was some crazy sealing jutsu on. You know what happened to Orochimaru's arms with the Reaper Death Seal?
Can he make a jetpack or something, jetpack cannon thing to move? So many options.
But I was gonna say, because he got his mobility back when he was Edo Tensei,
correct.
He was still crippled.
Yeah.
So Like, could he, like,
Why is he crippled with Edo Tensei though?
Right.
and then, like, how did he fix it if he couldn't? I think he'd have to, like, switch. Like, I don't think he can use, like, both his Mangekyo and his Rinnegan. Like, he could use his Susanoo.
Yeah.
That wouldn't matter, but, like, he wouldn't be able to use, like, whatever Mangekyo power
Like
while
Madara.
his Rinnegan's active.
He'd pull a Madara.
Yeah, Madara had to, like, downgrade it to do that Sharingan
So-
Genjutsu.
Right.
So does he have a Rinnegan ability? Does he have like a limbo or?
Yeah, does he have, like, Limbo or Amino Tejikara?
Fuck remembering that, by the way. I'm just gonna say teleport, but
Yeah, that's fair. I don't blame you. I don't know if that's like a 6 paths tier ability, but like Limbo kind of seems like that too. So I don't know. So like we'll just say because he's Sasuke's brother and they already share
Right.
one power.
They're very genetically
'Cause, like,
similar.
that's
Wait,
why
no.
Sasuke
I have
has
the solution.
A Madara
That's-
and he'd probably
that's-
have that.
that's Itachi's eye awakened into the Rinnegan. So he just has
Oh,
that.
you're right.
Yeah, there you go.
he would
Beautiful
have,
point.
Yep, that's
Beautiful.
right. He would have Amino Tejikara. He would be able to teleport.
Absolutely.
So, like, you know, all you people who get, like, mad, you know, whenever I say Itachi loses to Minato, well, now Itachi is Minato, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, seriously.
Basically.
So versus pain as an example, the absorption ability doesn't matter. Like, can you absorb?
Yeah.
Like, can he absorb Shinra
so
Tensei?
what if they, like, both went up and, like, put up their absorption barriers at the same time? Like, what would,
Right. What would happen?
Like, can
what
you
would happen?
can you absorb the Shinra Tensei? Is that even like chakra?
Yeah, like, could you, like, absorb the missiles?
Well, yeah. Like, how does
Great
it work?
questions. Honestly, I
Also,
don't know.
Does Itachi have like Nagato's like Storm 3 laser cannon that can like blow up the Chibaku Tensei? Like, what Rinnegan abilities does he have? Like with the one eye?
He would have them all, I imagine. But I guess the question is, which ones would he be able to use? I guess the thing about
Which ones would he
Sasuke,
use,
why
right?
he
More
didn't
exactly, more
use
precisely.
all of them was because he didn't have time to train with them.
It's implied Sasuke that he can use reincarnation or grant immortality.
Yeah.
He can use Chibaku Tensei. He can
Right.
use absorption.
Yeah.
He can use
Yeah,
teleport.
his is pretty, and I mean, he was like, I think he did like a larger scale absorption than anybody else did, right? Like
Yeah.
he,
I agree.
like absorbed the chakra from the Chibaku Tensei. So yeah.
Yeah.
From the
Also, we could
tailed
talk
beasts,
about- okay, so
by the way.
Sasuke has the Tomoe Rinnegan. So Itachi has like the one without the Tomoe. So
Yeah.
can he not like? Is it like Kaguya, where if it has the Tomoe, it has Rinnegan and Sharingan powers? Or I was gonna say he also uses that like Rinnegan Genjutsu power as well.
Yeah, that's true.
On all
The
the
one
tailed
that
beasts.
like,
Yeah. So can like Itachi use that, or is that only Tomoe?
I wonder if. So let's move on to the two Rinnegan Itachi.
Yeah, because this one's weird.
Yeah.
Would he like just get a better? Because like Madara's Limbo with 2 was just like better.
Yeah.
So like,
Because he got
would
like 4.
Itachi just be able to teleport like better, or like would he have
Maybe-
like, a Genjutsu
okay.
in his other one?
So, if Madara went from 1 Limbo clone to like 4 or 5, right? If you count the one that's sealed still alive, I don't know if it stayed or not. So maybe he has 5. Then would like the teleportation distance like quintuple, or like is that what happens?
I don't think
Like,
that there's
that's-
a
that's
limit
a
on
fair
the
implication.
distance, because like Sasuke literally teleports between like dimensions. So like, I think it's just anything you can see. You
No,
swap
no.
places with.
well, there's still like a that one's awkward because he's like teleporting through like a portal, like some Mario shit.
Yeah.
So like.
Maybe it's like Kamui, where like it's technically called the same thing, but it's like different versions. Like maybe Itachi could
Yeah,
like,
variation.
swap other people's positions with it.
Right.
Like
instead of
like-
only his own. Maybe the left eye teleports him with something, and then the right eye teleports someone else with something. Like,
Yeah, but like, so like what the issue with that is it has to be something that you're like looking at. So how would he look at the target and
Right.
what they're gonna switch places with at the same time?
maybe he'd have to be like really long range and like.
Oh well, no, actually he could do that. This is the Rinnegan, actually, so
Yeah.
he could just If he has the paths, maybe.
He could make like the 6 paths of Itachi or something.
Oh wait, you know what I just realized? All Itachi's crows. He'd be able to see everything.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh,
Yeah, he'd be able
wow.
to see everything, dude. That'd be kind of
heck of an idea.
Crazy. And he has shadow clones. The main issue is I think he'd use like,
if he can connect to a crow, could he have like a crow in the background, like shoot Amaterasu like from its eye, like a sniper? Like
how it would like.
Are we giving the Amaterasu to his Rinnegan, by the way, or are we like taking that out?
I thought that's more of a Sharingan ability.
Like the 6 paths, like
Renne,
the Renne Sharingan,
whatever it's called.
You gotta switch back and forth. You get, you can't do both at once. Unfortunately, so I don't think it would be able to shoot a Amaterasu yet.
Unfortunate, because that's a cool ass strategy.
Yeah.
Sniper crows. The next question you have to ask is like, is the Rinnegan that Pain has or Nagato has still stronger than his because it's like Madara's Rinnegan, or can he not use them properly so they're not nearly as powerful as the amp that Itachi's would give him? Like, how does that amp work? You know, kind of have to talk about that. So I'm gonna assume that because Itachi is the original owner,
right,
that he gets a bigger amp than what Nagato has, and since Itachi was already kind of like in that kind of caliber anyway, that he'd be above generally the Akatsuki for the most part. I think we kind of agree with that.
It is hard to determine the amps for like base like Rinnegan though, just because like when Madara got his back, so much fucking bullshit happened at once. So like Madara got amped, 1 from coming back to life, 2 from Sage Mode,
and
the tree.
Finally, he got amped
and the Rinnegan
from 1 Rinnegan.
He got so many amps.
And by the time he got his 1 Rinnegan, he was already just like stronger than like with Hashirama Sage Mode, he was already like stronger than everybody. It was just like a win more situation where he got even stronger.
It was icing on top of the cake,
like,
basically.
Up, Sasuke and Tobirama and like all the Biju and stuff.
Would you say that Sage Mode is a bigger amp than Sharingan, like basic? For instance, if you had Naruto with Mangekyo Sharingan versus Naruto with Sage Mode fight each other, who wins?
Yeah, Naruto with the Sage Mode wins.
Right.
Well,
it's debatable.
Depends on how like the Mangekyo amps his base and like.
It's debatable, right? It's debatable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is debatable for sure.
I think with that in mind, you kind of get this idea that Madara, while blind with Sage Mode, is kind of just like fucking up all the tailed beasts or whatever he's getting. Like he's kind of fighting all of them, and then when he gets one Rinnegan, he just one shots all of them.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make the same comparison with Itachi, where with his Rinnegan he could like at least one shot himself or something.
We can definitely say he's stronger than the Akatsuki, right?
Yes.
Even with all his fucking like sickness, stamina issues. The only person who might still give him trouble is Obito, because like he'd have to last for a really, really long time.
Yeah, Obito's stamina is just
it's ridiculous.
too crazy.
Yeah, we talked about that in the Shikamaru Lee video, actually.
Yeah. Which you should check out.
If I haven't reacted to that, folks, let me know, and I'll react to it soon.
Pretty stellar video.
Rock Lee with Byakugan versus Shikamaru Sharingan.
Because Obito thinks
Itachi is he has no stamina issues. Edo Itachi is like one of the only characters who gets like a buff from being Edo. It's weird. Because like he just spam MS abilities, doesn't have to worry about going blind, which he almost was against Sasuke.
right.
I guess that's one thing he would be able to. Because when Madara got the Rinnegan, like his like Izanagi just like reversed, so I think his eyes would at least be fixed.
So he'd get fixed eyes. Are we saying that he can spam Izanami?
No, I don't think he could do that, because I think you lose your Rinnegan if you do Izanagi, but man, fucking all these goddamn rules.
Because Madara used it, lost his eye, and then got it back with his Rinnegan.
And he never did it again.
And then Hagoromo apparently spammed it over and over again to make like tailed beasts and shit.
I think so. I don't know if that was Izanagi. I think Izanagi is like basically like a bastardization of that jutsu. It's like a weird.
So
like,
you think it's like a derivative of that jutsu?
Yeah. Like Hagoromo
Right.
is using creation of all.
It's a descendant of it,
which is like
to be more specific, in my opinion.
the shit that Naruto used to give Kakashi his eye back and like fix Guy. Whereas Izanagi is like tapping into that. Like you don't have to have 6 paths, but it just takes away your eye. So I don't know. If that is what he was using.
All right, so we're about halfway through this video, and there's tons of rules and variables that must be taken into account when analyzing this hypothetical scenario. But to give my 2 cents so far, here are some of my thoughts on this hypothetical scenario. If Itachi were to have, let's just jump straight to. Okay, let's start with one Rinnegan actually, just like they did. If you had one Rinnegan, all right, it wouldn't be Rinne Sharingan. I think it's implied that you gotta have 6 pass abilities to get a type of Rinne Sharingan. It seems implied, right? Because Nagato didn't have it. Obito didn't get it when he took Nagato's eye. Madara didn't have it when he was revived again, and he got Sage Mode on top of that, and then with the Rinnegan. So it seems to be a 6 pass ability. It's a variation. It also seems to be narratively implied that just based off the aesthetic, right, with the Tomoe ingrained in the Rinnegan, it probably gives you both Rinnegan and Sharingan, or a little bit of both, or however you want to think about it. So I don't think Itachi without 6 paths chakra inside of him would have a Rinne Sharingan. I think they said that themselves, which I agree with. With one Rinnegan, here's the thing about it. I don't know if they're taking this into account, but I am. It's tough to just have one, right? And the thing is, Itachi's not known to have stamina. Madara, if you guys don't remember, is the descendant of Indra, right? That's why Madara is able to wield the Rinnegan so effortlessly, right? Nagato was an Uzumaki, so he had chakra reserves genetically because Uzumakis have the genetic advantage of having large chakra pools. So Itachi's an Uchiha. Uchihas aren't known to have large chakra reserves unless you're a descendant of Indra like Madara and Sasuke. So yes, he is the brother of Sasuke Uchiha, but he's not a descendant of Indra. So you gotta keep that in mind. Would he be able to handle Rinnegan? I mean, if we're switching the scenario around, right? They're saying that the Rinnegan is his, so he's like born with it in this fantasy world that they're painting, right? It's a hypothetical scenario. It wasn't he's not borrowing one like Nagato, right? So let's just remove the stamina issue, right? Because if he has stamina issues, it's gonna be a tough time for him to even live with a Rinnegan. It's gonna kill him to even use it once, due to the extreme amount of chakra that using a Rinnegan takes from you. Right? The closest thing we can get to this is Obito, and I know Obito took Nagato's eye, but he said, "I could barely handle one Rinnegan, dude. This thing is so heavy that I could only handle one. My chakra isn't sufficient to handle 2." Right? And again, I know he took the eye from Nagato, but the point kind of still stands, in my opinion, due to the fact that Itachi, like Obito, is not a descendant of Indra like Madara and Sasuke. So, if we're taking stamina into account, Itachi might be more powerful when he's at his best, but his durability and stamina, hence, would be much lower. That's my take on that with 1 or 2. I think if you had 2, it'd be a mistake by the natural order of things, right? This is not normal for someone with low stamina and low durability historically to have 2 Rinnegan. Like, that's not good. He's gonna die from the extreme burden that the Rinnegan puts on his chakra reserve. But let's remove that out of the equation because that makes things weird. Let's say he has the stamina. Let's say that him being born with the Rinnegan or Rennegans means that he has the chakra for them. If he has the chakra for them, he is most likely stronger than everyone in the Akatsuki. I think only Obito would give him a problem. He'd be stronger than Nagato. I think his Chubaku Tenseis, his Bancho Tenin, his Shinra Tensei, all that would be superior to Nagato's due to him being the sole owner and original owner of the Rennegans that he possesses, right? Nagato's not the sole owner. It's Madara's eyes, not his. So Itachi would probably be the most powerful member. He might even be able to beat Obito. Obito's the only one I see giving him trouble due to him having extreme stamina himself. And it seems he has a lot of durability for an Uchiha. So that's the only guy that would give him problems. He'd be a god tier shinobi. He already is, right? I'm not saying he's like 6 past tier, obviously not. None of those guys that I just talked about are. But he'd be even more up in the ranks than compared to the sick Itachi that we know, right? So with 2 Rinnegan, he might have a different way of doing things. I don't know. Maybe knowing that he has these chakra reserves, which implies he's probably not sick, which implies that he has more time on his hands. Maybe he goes about things differently, right? I'm talking about things narratively speaking. Maybe his game plan isn't to just stay within the Akatsuki. Maybe he's so confident in his abilities that he takes down the Akatsuki himself. But then the question is, could he solo the Akatsuki, right? That's a big if. All of them, even Itachi with Rinnegan, with 2 Rinnegan, would have a tall task at hand. But basically, Itachi with the Rinnegan, to keep it in layman's terms, would be an animal. He'd be the strongest in the Akatsuki, in my opinion. He'd be maybe the strongest shinobi on Earth, right? Until Madara shows up and, 6 past characters start coming out of the ground during the war arc and things like that. So up until the war arc, he'd probably be the strongest shinobi on Earth. But yeah, that basically answers it. Let's continue. Great video so far.
Even then, maybe it was just a Hagoromo special. Maybe it was,
that's the thing. Because I don't think Zetsu would have caught Madara lacking if he could just
yeah, he could just use it. Yeah, you think Madara?
That would have been very funny if he was just like, oh yeah, you think
Madara of all people, after gaining his eyesight back from the ability, would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Like us as viewers are thinking about it. Why wouldn't he? Mr. IQ over 200, probably.
Exactly.
Ninja Man.
Maybe Zetsu immobilized him and stopped him from using any abilities because he was able to do that with Obito.
Even then, no, because even then Obito could kind of fight back. So maybe it was Kaguya was taking over his body, or
I don't know, man.
Oh, that's just a weird scenario, a weird thing, right?
Let's talk about. So what do you want to do? Do you want to move on to Edo Itachi or talk about a live Itachi? Let's say he fixes a sickness. What do you think is more interesting?
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess Edo is just slightly weaker, but
it's unquantifiable almost.
We'll just say he gets brought back by Kabuto Edo Tensei, and in addition to the crazy Shisui shit, he's just I also had a contingency plan for if anything like this happened, I would immediately awaken the Rinnegan, and then he's like, all right, Naruto, I'm gonna go fucking kill Kabuto now, and then he just leaves, right? How strong is this Itachi? He's on his way to kill Kabuto, and then he's gonna go fuck up Madara. Does he succeed? Probably in the first part, at least.
Yeah. I don't think
he beats the hell out of Kabuto.
I don't think he beats Madara.
Sure. Yeah, Kabuto, fucking.
Kabuto was actually scared. He was actually very cautious of fighting just the Rinnegan from one eye.
Yo, he was terrified of Obito. That's the only reason he did that alliance. Well, not sorry. He approached Obito with the alliance before, but he agreed to a lot of Obito's terms solely because of the Rinnegan. So he was also scared of Itachi. Regular.
Yep.
So not nearly as much because he was still laughing at Itachi I'll beat you up, but he was still scared of Itachi regular.
Yeah.
So then you give Itachi the Rinnegan and it's
also there's the epic meme of Kabuto saying there's no Uchiha greater than me. Very funny, but it's just
yeah, that's the thing, right? I think Itachi would be Obito's level physically. The thing about Obito is that he's hard carried by his dumb hacks power.
He has a dumb hacks power and a dumb stamina problem too. His stamina is so hard to beat just because of his genes in his arms and shit. So
right.
Itachi's Edo, he doesn't have to worry about this. The main difference between Edo Itachi and alive, not sick Itachi is I think Itachi would still have because in part 1 he had to leave pretty quick after the fight.
Here's something we can talk about, I guess, very basic. If Itachi has to fight Obito and all the tailed beasts, he should be able to handle all the tailed beasts extremely easily. He could absorb all their Bijou bombs. He could probably take their chakra.
Wait.
Genjutsu them, perhaps.
Right.
Wait. Can Itachi summon the Geromazo?
I mean, yeah, he has a Rinnegan, so.
Well,
Wait, do you need Senju DNA to do that though?
well, you need Senju, like, you need Indra Ashura Chakra to awaken the Rinnegan anyway. So that would probably just be a part of the
Remember when they
plan
said
that,
you
like,
needed
got-
that DNA to use like Izanagi or something? When was that whole debate? That was funny.
Izanami, I also just feel like Itachi was lying.
So-
There's no way. They were all going around spamming Izanagi.
So him having
Yeah,
the Rinnegan
that seems like
in
a
general probably
quite
just means he can
stretched
summon it
out
and
scenario.
Yeah,
Possibly.
so would it just be him and Obito going back and forth? Like, the issue with the Geromazo is, it's currently sealed inside of another dimension, which only Kaguya can access. Sasuke does go in, so maybe he could, like, summon Kaguya now, but I don't think he wants to do that.
Right? Yeah. That would be funny.
I think that would be very funny. Obito and Itachi just like Kuchiyose no Jutsu.
They keep summoning it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's mine. Mine.
Oh my goodness.
And then Itachi. Would Itachi get to like? Would he have like dominance because he has 2 Rinnegan?
Maybe. Like, does it give him more ghetto control?
Possibly. I mean,
And like,
it seems to be implied 2 is stronger than 1.
like Obito
Right?
tries to summon it and it just crosses his arms, just like no.
You're only half good enough.
Like, but okay. So the actual relevant part of this, I do think, like you said, he'd be able to box up the Biju pretty fast. The main issue is Obito himself. Like, you can't really hit him, like, at all. But
Yeah.
I do think he could probably find a way to at least hit Obito like one time.
Because he
but,
could
like,
he could catch Obito by surprise. I mean, he can literally teleport, almost like
Right.
Minato can. Not exactly, like, but he can definitely switch places with objects. So I mean, it can kind of.
So, I mean, effectively, like, so if you put them in the same situation, effectively it would be the same thing. Well, no, never mind. I was gonna say because he could throw the kunai and then would go through Obito and he'd be able to
He
like
could switch
places with it,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't be able to see it. Except, wait, no, just kidding. His crow would look at it, and then Itachi would switch places.
Right.
With it.
Or,
And I
yeah,
guarantee
he'd
he'd
have
come
his
up with something like
crows
that.
go
Sengan.
Yo,
Yeah.
his crows would fly everywhere, and then he'd just like catch him with like Amaterasu or something. Like, well, granted, Itachi did catch Obito lacking with Sasuke. Remember when he like hit him with
true.
the Amaterasu like in his base after he died?
Oh, that's
So, I
right.
don't know. Maybe Itachi's really about it.
There's like a theory, I don't know if I agree with it, but the theory is that like Obito did that. Like he let himself get hit by it, like just to like A, flex, be like, yeah, I can just live through like an Amaterasu, and B, like make Sasuke respect Itachi even more.
Interesting
by, like,
theory.
convincing him that like Itachi almost like killed him afterwards. Again, I don't
Right,
necessarily
right.
agree with it. I felt like bringing it up because I've seen it crop up.
It's a
few times.
possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always interpretation.
It's a fair theory.
But if you are charitable to Itachi and just assume that like base Sasuke was able to hit Obito with a Amaterasu, then like Itachi's like, you know, like Itachi's
I mean,
like teleport Amaterasu might be able to.
Here's the way I see it. I think Itachi versus Obito is interesting,
Very interesting.
but then you give them both amps, but Itachi's amp is just catastrophically bigger. Like,
That's true.
it's just way bigger.
2 Renegans?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sheesh.
so like in my personal kind of fanboy opinion, I'd probably give it to Itachi, but
I don't
Yeah.
I don't disagree. The main thing that I'm hung up on is Kamui. which
yeah,
is,
no.
like,
Of course,
really
it's
smart.
not going to be the easiest.
That's going to be a
thing,
problem,
you know?
yeah,
It's still gonna
obviously.
be nonsense.
Kamui's always a problem.
But
Itachi is also really smart. That you know, like he's
One of
like,
the smartest, correct?
Yeah,
So
literally.
he'd probably figure something out. So let's say he goes through Obito, and then Madara's just sitting there, right? That's kind of what happens. Madara whips out the perfect Susanoo, and then I think that's the end.
yeah, I mean, if you have a live Madara with 2 Rinnegan without even 6 pads, like Madara's still more powerful. You know,
I agree. I agree.
I guess you guys are kind of getting the point. Like Rinnegan Itachi just can't. He just can't beat the 6 pads characters still. Like, you know, like
course,
it still
I
just kind
agree.
of stops there.
Like he's still being gatekept by Madara. Edo Madara might be able to do it. Like, do you think he'd be able, like, because like
Yeah,
like,
that's-
Edo Hashirama's like 100 fucking like 1,000 hand shit might
Yeah.
you know like might do Itachi in, right? Like it was like the 100 hands from Guru was enough to stop Hiruzen in his tracks and make him go like, F
Yeah.
what do we do about this? So like I think that the Hashirama version of that might make Itachi.
Hashirama would give Itachi Rinnegan kind of a hard time just because, like, hear me out. Both Itachi and Madara are both nerfed by their Edo Tensei.
Right.
They fight, and by the end of the fight, Hashirama, it actually finds a way to negate the Rinnegan's abilities with his wood style. And during like the first time Hashirama's ever encountered that ability, he finds a way to negate it. So it's
which is very impressive.
Yeah, he has like a weird like chakra suppression properties, which is how he was able to control the Biju.
Yeah, so it's like Rinnegan Itachi might not be as insanely OP as you think. Like, you know,
right.
maybe he'd be able to catch Hashirama off guard with the Totsuka blade or something. Like, you know, like
that is the other thing we do have to like. If Itachi catches Obito in a Genjutsu, or like any of these people in a Genjutsu, which now at this level would be very hard.
Might be impossible for Hashirama.
Yeah, so like if he catches any of them in a Genjutsu, like Obito included, they are just like, you know, Dunzo spaghetti from the Totsuka blade. They get poked, they lose. Even without Genjutsu though, the fact that that's like a problem here, that's a threat that they have to look out for is pretty bad for them.
Dude, imagine he teleports like Minato with a Susanoo holding the Totsuka blade.
Oh,
like, you know
goodness.
Like, Itachi's giant red perfect Susanoo appears with the Totsuka blade to stab you, like, out of nowhere.
The issue
it might be OP.
though, is, like, how long would he be able to keep the Susanoo up? You know, like, because his Rinnegan would, like, repair his eyes, but I don't know if they would still make the eyes, like, EMS.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Like, do you have to have EMS to have a Rinnegan, or like?
And like, wait, so like, what happens if you like have Rinnegan and then you swap for EMS? Do you like go down to EMS and you're like, okay, now I can spam my Mangekyo, but I can't.
Like, how does it work?
I can't use Rinnegan anymore. Yeah.
Comments. How does it work? You tell us.
Thanks for sitting through this.
It's a great question.
Stupid horseshit video.
Nah, that was a great video.
High quality.
It was a great video.
Our other really good one, high quality like set on Seth's channel about Rock Lee with a Byakugan versus Shikamaru.
Yeah, guys, let me know if you want me to react to that. If I haven't already, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
cultured stuff that people have been debating for years.
Yes.
Till then, talk to you later.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Swag out.
Peace.
Bye.
All right, folks. So you guys have it. That was a great video. Now, to further give my thoughts on this scenario, right? From my impression and observations, I don't think that he'd have the teleportation ability like Sasuke unless he has 6-pass chakra. Like when Hagoromo gave Sasuke's 6-pass chakra, he awakened the Rinne Sharingan, right, with the Tomoe. Because there's no other Rinnegan user that could do that. Madara couldn't use it. Nagato couldn't use it. Obito couldn't use it. So why would Itachi be able to use it if he doesn't have 6-pass? That seems something I don't agree with. I don't think he'd be able to use that ability, right, like Sasuke could, because Sasuke has 6-pass chakra, 6-pass abilities at that point, right? So I don't think he'd have that. If we're talking about non-6-pass Rinnegan in Itachi's eye sockets, right? So he'd still be very, very formidable. I don't think he'd be able to use his Sharingan abilities if he doesn't have a Sharingan. That's just my take on it. I think the Rinne Sharingan variation gives you access to it, or at least it seems implied, right? And still, it's not really 100% sure because, again, Sasuke still has a Sharingan. He doesn't have 2 Rinnegans. He has a Sharingan and a Rinne Sharingan. So even then, I'm not really sure if Itachi had 2 Rinne Sharingans, would he be able to use Sharingan abilities? It's a weird, ambiguous aspect of the scenario to try and analyze, but in my opinion, I don't think he'd have the ability to do teleportation if he has 2 Rinnegans. Maybe if he does have Indra DNA, like Madara and Sasuke, right? Then maybe he could awaken his Susanoo. Maybe he could. because Madara was able to do it, right? So maybe it's possible. It's just a weird thing to think about. I still agree with the notion that he wouldn't beat 6-pass characters if he doesn't have 6-pass abilities, right? Even with 2 Renegons, he wouldn't beat Madara. Not even Madara without a Rinnegan. I think he'd still lose to him. Madara's in a different tier. He's in a whole different scale of power scaling. So, no. As far as the Obito one, that's an interesting one, right? So, Obito with a Rinnegan and the Sharingan, like the one we saw in the War Arc, versus 2 Rinnegan Itachi. Very interesting to think about. All right. As far as who would win, I think it's implied that 2 Sharingans is stronger than 1. There's even statements that imply that, like when Madara said, "I feel more powerful now," when he gained 2 Renegans when he was already a Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, right? When he had 1, he was able to use 1 Limbo clone. When he got 2, he's able to use like 4 or 5 Limbo clones. That implies that he's more powerful. So I would estimate that Itachi's power is superior to Obito's due to him having 2 Rinnegan and Obito only having 1 Rinnegan. So I think Itachi would have a good chance. Kamui would be an issue, right? It would be an issue. However, I know the Rinnegan gives you the ability to have larger fields of vision, right? Just like how the 6-pass of pain give Nagato 360 degrees of vision. Like wherever they look, he knows, he sees as well. So maybe the crows would help him out. You know, maybe he could throw a crow into the Kamui dimension with Obito when he Kamuis, and then, I don't know, maybe takes his soul or some weird shit. There's a lot of weird shit that Itachi would come up with if he had the Rinnegan at his disposal. There's a lot of things, like the crows would be useful, for real. I know they were kind of joking about it, but think about it. What if he throws a crow at him when he's Kamuing? They're in the Kamui. The crow goes with them into the Kamui. Itachi could see what's going on in there, I believe, so he's able to. I know it's a different dimension, but I'm assuming that he can. And then he uses one of the Rinnegan abilities within the Kamui. Then what? I think Obito would lose at that point. And I also agree with the notion that he'd be able to use a Geto statue better than Obito, because again, he has 2 Rennegans. Obito does not. So yeah. But yeah, this is a very interesting topic. Now, to give you an extra piece, let's say he does have Sharingan abilities with 2 Rinnegan without 6-pass chakra, right? Just like his brother Sasuke. Let's say, oh, he has it because he's Sasuke's brother and you don't need 6-pass to get the Rinne Sharingan. You just got to be the brother of Sasuke or some weird shit, some weird headcanon, right? Let's pretend that's the gist here. At that point, man, Obito specifically would probably get fucked up. It's as easy as this in my eyes. Again, let's use the crow thing again. He throws a crow at Obito when he's Kamuing. They go into the Kamui dimension. The crow looks at him, summons Amaterasu on his fucking body. He's fucked. It's it. It's as simple as that. Or even worse, if he has a swapping ability like his brother Sasuke, he'll literally awaken a Susanoo, right? And all he has to do is swap with something instantaneously, and fucking seal away Obito with a Totsuka blade. It's simple as that. If he has the swapping ability like Sasuke does, he'd be pretty powerful. I still don't think even that version of Itachi would beat 6-pass characters like a Madara, Madara, Ten Tails, or like a Tsutsuki or adult Sasuke or adult Naruto. I don't think he's beating any of those tiers of characters because they have the highest of degree of speed, durability, attack potency, defense, all the above. He wouldn't be able to stack up against those guys. It's just not going to happen. But Itachi, right, with 2 Rinnegan, with Sharingan abilities, with the Rinne Sharingan, I should just say, he would be one of the strongest shinobi of all time, and even higher ranked than he already is in the regular Naruto verse. He would probably beat most of the Hokage historically, including Minato. He'd probably be able to beat him. The only problem with Minato would be the reaction times. I don't know if he'd have the adequate reaction times to mess with a prime Minato. Possibly, but it's clearly more debatable. I think he'd be able to beat Tobirama. I think he'd be able to beat Hiruzen. When it comes to the old man, as far as the prime one, it's kind of ambiguous and unquantifiable to estimate how powerful prime Hiruzen truly was, right? So that's a weird one to try to do. But Old Man Hiruzen, he does beat Tsunade. He doesn't even need the fucking Rinnegan to beat her. He'd beat her. And after that, he probably doesn't beat DMS Kakashi. He doesn't beat Naruto as an adult. But yeah, you get the gist of it. He'd be, as far as non-six pass characters, he'd be maybe number 1. I think only Hashirama and Madara would be above him. Maybe Minato. Only a handful of people would be above him at that point. But yeah, guys, that's my thought on it. I could talk about this forever. This is a very interesting scenario. Let me know what your thoughts were on this video. And how powerful do you think Itachi would be with the Rinnegan? And what would happen narratively? I'm very interested to see what your guys' take would be on that. So please let me know in the comments. And if you guys have any other recommendations, please let me know. And I'll catch you in the next video. It's JTheGreat signing out. Peace.